Okay. It's odd that I kind of get questions in spurts. It's like 2 or 3 people within a 1 week period of time ask me the same question. So, since I got this question a few times in a row about softbox, I've got lots of soft boxes. I've got a huge one right over here out of frame. I don't want to drag it over here and hold it while I'm talking. I think everybody knows what the hell a softbox look like. Depends on who makes it and what sort of speed ring attachment it is, like Ellen Chrome versus Palsy Buff. Palsy Buff is alien bees, basically. Einstein, alien bees. They have different sort of ring mount setup. But generally, the case is the advantage of a softbox. We're talking about the advantages of a softbox, and there are not too many. One has an advantage over the other. Advantage of softboxes are pretty cheap. They're everywhere all over eBay. The problem is that the white diffusion panel is kind of low-grade material, and this is not one of them. This is an expensive Palsy Buff 47-inch Octa Box, not a softbox. And one like this, I think currently is like $180. This one is large. They make them larger than this. They make them really huge, actually. The largest one they make, Palsy Buff, is a 60-inch. They make a smaller one that's 35. 60-inch, I think, is $200. This one's 180. The one below it's like 140 or something like that. Advantages. You have to know the way light works. What are the advantages of a softbox versus an OCTABOX, vice versa? Obviously, a softbox is cheaper. You can get moderately cheap OCTABOXes, but they are more expensive to produce. But, catch light. Now, there's some things that you'd only want a gigantic softbox for, like especially full-body portraiture. OCTABOX, even a gigantic one, they are enormously huge, and they always have to be sandbagged. Even this 47-incher right now is sandbagged. You can't see it down here, but there's a sandbag underneath there so it does not tip over on my fat bald head. You get better catch lighting. Just imagine lizard eyes versus a circular reflection. What do I mean by lizard eyes? When you take a rectangular softbox and it is bouncing in the eyes of your gorgeous model, you will see a curvature based upon the pupil of the person you're taking a shot of. A curvature of that rectangular softbox, and it will be curved to match the curvature of the front of that person's eye. And it will, especially if you got 2 softboxes, one over here, just one, it will take the iris of that person and it will form this. And I call it lizard eyes. And it is not too flattering, and while you can paint it out in Lightroom and Photoshop, why the hell do it? There's some serious advantages to an OCTABOX. One, you get a much more diffuse light. Why do you get more of a diffuse light? Let me take off this front cover here. Let's show you what's underneath the hood. And by the way, when you put together the front diffusion panel of an OCTABOX, the best way to do it, since there are so many sides and you won't get it evenly, is you work 2 sides at a time. I'll start from this edge and I'll work over here. But I don't actually have to crane my arm up here. All I have to do is this number to take off or remove the diffusion panel. I'll see people actually struggle. I was like, what? Just turn it. It's on a speed ring, okay? I know you all are really enjoying looking at my fat neck and the back of my bald head. I know you're just enjoying that right now. Okay, there we go with that. So we know how to put that on. Very, very easy. I have one central knob here. I loosen it and I let it slip out just like an umbrella. I have a set of locking rings back here that lets me take it off the speed ring of my Palsy Buff unit. What are the advantages? Why do I get softer light? You want a nice diffuse contrast between your shadows, your midtones, your diffuse value, and your speculars, your highlights. A softbox is better. Why is a softbox better? Excuse me. Why is an OCTABOX better than a softbox? This is better, has better diffuse values than any softbox, which is rectangular. Softbox, 4 sides. OCTABOX, obviously 8 sides. Why does that make it a better diffuse value, especially if you want that feathered light on your subject? Well, it depends on what you want. Do you want better controlled feathering, or do you want better overall smooth, just spread the butter thin all over the toast sort of lighting? The reason for that is because each one of these corners and each one of these facets, just like a damn diamond, Why the hell do you shape a diamond with a diamond cut? I used to have a lap wheel, you know, I smear on the diamond paste, and I'd actually polish gemstones. It was kind of relaxing. I put in my headphones. Yeah, I actually made gemstones. I made gemstones on a lap wheel. Just like a diamond, each one of these facets captures the light, and it causes it to go this way and out this way. And what it does is it interferes, and you get a better diffuse value for better soft lighting versus hard lighting on a softbox. Better soft lighting with an Octa Box than you do with a softbox. This, by the way, I don't care what kind of skills you got, is 10 times faster than setting up most softboxes. Most softboxes are like a Chinese jigsaw puzzle. Even if you've done it 20 times before, it is a crotch pain to put together a softbox. The big ones are even worse. This, all I do is loosen this knob, okay? Pop it out, get my ring back here, pop it off. If I'm putting it on, I'd actually mount it like this. I'd hit my rings, I'd mount it, I'd bring this in, okay? Line it up here, turn my knob in, drop. How fast was that? You know how long it takes to set up a good softbox? People buy softboxes because most of them are made in China, most of them are super cheap, and I recommend them. But the diffusion fabric changes color. It changes in a couple of years. If you use it in a decent way, it'll change from this to yellow. The strobe light will yellow it. This will not. This might get dirty and you throw it in the washing machine. The Octa Boxes like this, although I don't use them, gives you double diffusion, and you get an interior diffuser that you actually attach here, so you have dual layers of diffusion. I don't use this. This gives you that extra soft light. However, with the frosted dome on this Einstein combined with the front diffusion fabric on this Octa Box, this is beautiful. Love it. I can also hang a gel over front of this and give myself a neat sunset or sunrise effect. I could do all sorts of things by dropping a gel in on this. There are a lot of light mods you can actually see where people drop in gels in an Octa Box. Not so easy to do on a softbox. Easier to do on an Octa Box because of how it's diffusing the light off of each one of these facets. Let me actually take it off my Einstein. Okay. Just bring it like this. Come up here. I hit my ring. Make sure I don't break my frosted glass dome. It's that easy. Here's the Halsey Buff speed ring on the back. This was that easy. This weighs about 4.5 pounds. Octa Boxes. One of the advantages a softbox has is you have a little bit better control of your light. And obviously both of these will take grids. So far as controlling the light, dropping a grid, a honeycomb grid on a softbox or an Octa Box, same thing. You still have better diffuse values between your shadows, your midtones, and your speculars on an Octa Box because of how it facets out the light to your subject matter than does the softbox. They are cheaper. These are more expensive, but just like if you were a portrait shooter, it's like, well, I can buy a bunch of cheap Chinese crap and, you know, one good... Look at, you're supposed to own at least one good portrait lens if you're a portrait photographer, for example, or if you're a wildlife photographer, one good wildlife lens. You know, it's like, I gotta splurge. This is my area of photography. I'm gonna specialize in it. This is where I gotta dump the money in the good crap. Same thing with any sort of portrait photography. Is that you can buy some cheap lighting equipment, some cheap light stands. You can get away with the cheap light stands for a while, but you need to have at least one good Octa Box. Doesn't have to be a buff. I'm sure you probably don't own a Paul C. Buff, especially people that live overseas where it's harder to get Alien Bees or Paul C. Buff stuff. But this is a really high quality one. It's made very well. It lasts a long time. Will take a beating. It's very well made. You know, kind of know how those chintzy umbrellas would actually fold over and bend on themselves. That's kind of how like cheap junk is. Actually, any halfway decent junk Octa Box is fairly expensive. But, you know, spend $50 more and get an awesome one. $50 more will go a long way in a hardcore, last you a lifetime Octa Box, and it will let you do basically everything. An Octa Box like this, and this is a large one, will let you do just about everything. It is invaluably useful for $190, which I think is what it is right now for one like this. which is 47-inch. Pay for itself overnight. It's so easy to set up, so easy to take down. So those are your advantages. Soft boxes versus Octa boxes. That's cheap. This is more expensive. This has better diffuse values than an Octa box. They'll both take grids. This one is way easier to set up than a soft box does. Octa box, boom, set it up, boom, ready to go. You know, I don't want to waste all day like Tinker Toys and Legos setting up a soft box. Pop on an Octa box, turn on the power, boom, go. Okay? I hope I made that clear and succinct. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Hasta la luego.